Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to Post Cologne. Today I'm going to give you 7 sexy date night fragrance clones. So let's jump into it. Alright, so today we're talking sexy date night fragrance clones. Fragrances that are going to have you smelling absolutely delicious for that special someone in your life. And I got a nice variety of fragrances for you from 7 different Middle Eastern houses. So we got a nice mix of different brands. We got some different scent profiles. We got some masculine ones. We got some gourmand ones. Lots to choose from for those date nights. So links are gonna be down in the description if you decide you wanna check any of these fragrances out, and let's quit screwing around and let's get into it. All right, kicking things off, going to the house of Lattafa, and it's Lattafa's Hamra Hawa. Now, I think I pronounced that right. Pick this up between $30 and $50 at various discounters, and this is more of a twist than it is a direct clone, and it is the flanker to the original hype machine that was Lattafa Hamra, which is a clone of by Kilian's Angel Share. But this one has a really nice twist to it, and I find this one to be a little bit more masculine than the original Lattafa Hamra because it has this absolutely gorgeous coffee note in it. Very similar DNA, opens up with some nice spice. You get some cinnamon, some cardamom, this just beautiful, delicious sweet praline mixed with some like candied fruit, little bit of white floral around the edges. But what really sticks out is that praline, those warm spices, this nice benzoin, vanilla, tonka bean that comes in from the base. And as this opens up, that coffee note really starts to come forward. So this is just like a rich, delectable, smooth, silky style of cappuccino, kind of like a dim lit cafe with like jazz music playing in the corner. Absolutely gorgeous, sexy, sweet, warm spice style of fragrance with that absolutely stunning coffee note that comes through with this one. Performance on this is pretty good. I get good projection for the first 2 hours or so before it does settle back in. And off skin, I get about 7-8 hours worth of longevity. It gets some on my clothing and that lasts well into the next day. It's more of the masculine version of Hamra, if you ask me. I do find that the cinnamon is toned down in this one. The sweetness is still there, but that coffee note really does give it that more of that gentlemanly sort of vibe than the original Hamra. So this is just an absolutely gorgeous fragrance for those date nights. Sexy, has a mysteriousness to it, very alluring, and definitely worth checking out. That's Lattafa's Hamra Kawa. All right, next up, going to the House of Fragrance World with Fragrance World's Spectre Ghost. Now you can scoop this up for in and around $40 at various discounters, and this is a clone of Nichoné's Annie, and let me tell you, this is a beautiful, sexy, intoxicating, addictive style of fragrance. Has a bit of a bright opening to it, has some fresh spicy ginger that comes through, some bergamot, pressurized atomizer. But you just get hit with a ton of this spiced vanilla that comes through. A little bit of black currant sweetness that comes through, just adding a little bit of character to this. But through and through, what you're getting from this is some nice vanilla, benzoin, cardamom that comes through and just makes this just a beautiful, spicy vanilla style of fragrance. As you get to the dry down, you get a little bit more of these deep, rich woods that come through. So you get some sandalwood, you get some cedarwood, this amber that just kind of warms things up ever so slightly and just turns into a sexy, cozy, velvety vanilla fragrance with those woods forming the base to it. Just an absolutely gorgeous scent profile on this. Performance is decent on this. I get about 2 hours worth of really solid projection before it does settle back in. And I get about 8 hours worth of longevity before it starts to kind of fade into a really intimate scent at that point. But get some on your clothing and you can definitely push that out. Bang for your buck. This is just an absolutely delicious fragrance and perfect for those date nights and definitely worth checking out. That's Fragrance World's Spectre Ghost. All right, next up, going to the House of Armaf with Armaf's Club de Nuit Urban Man Elixir. Now you can scoop this up for $30, $40 at various discounters, and this is a hybrid fragrance, maybe even a tribrid, if you will, of Dior Sauvage, little hints of some Creed Aventus or the original Club de Nuit Intense Man, and just this little added punch of some Baccarat Rouge 540 style of sweetness. Amazing fragrance. Really nice, bright, fresh, aromatic style of opening. You get some nice bergamot that comes through, some pink pepper, lavender. You get these nice white florals and this orange blossom, some jasmine that comes through. So it has this clean, fresh, aromatic style of opening with just enough little bit of spice that works in there, giving you a real kind of Dior Sauvage sort of vibe coming through this. And you get little hints of this kind of sharp ambery sweetness that's, again, very similar to that kind of Baccarat Rouge 540 style of sweetness, saffron and this really sharp amber, but it is kind of tucked in behind that Dior Sauvage style of DNA. As you get towards the dry down, you get a little bit more of that Creed Aventus or the original Club de Nuit Intense Man that comes through. A little bit more earthy tones, some woods that come through, just gives it a little bit more darkness, a little bit more depth, and it just blends together really well. So a little bit more sweet than your Sauvage and Aventus, but it definitely has that mass appeal, crowd-pleasing, compliment beast style of fragrance. Very bold, very masculine, but a very sexy date night style of fragrance. Performance on this is great. I get great projection for the first 2 hours or so before it settles in. I get about 8 hours worth of longevity before it really fades into a skin scent at that point. Just bang for your buck. If you're looking for an easy to reach for, dumb reach style of date night fragrance, this will definitely get you there. That's Armaf's Club de Nuit Urban Man Elixir. All right, next up, going to the house of Paris Corner with Paris Corner's Rifiquette. I'm definitely pronouncing that wrong. Picked this up for $35 at various discounters, and this is a clone of YSL's Baby Cat, and let me tell you, this is an amazing fragrance. Some people don't enjoy the opening, and I can see why. It's a bit of a harsh opening for that first 15 minutes or so, I'd say, because you just get absolutely blasted with this pink pepper, this black pepper, pressurized atomizer, this LME saffron olibanum kind of combination. So it's a really spicy, bitter, leathery style of saffron that comes through, mixing with that black pepper. And there's this resinous balsamic sweetness that comes from that LME, the olibanum mixing together. So I enjoy it. It's a really nice kind of spice, sweetie leather resinous sweetness that I kind of enjoy that, but I can see why some people wouldn't enjoy that one. But where the real magic happens is in that mid and towards the dry down, when that vanilla really starts to come through and it mixes with those spices. You get this really nice spiced vanilla that comes through with that bitter, almost leathery style of saffron that kind of tucks in behind that, and this really nice dry cedar wood that plays really nicely with that kind of balsamic sweetness, that kind of resinous aspect to it. So in the dry down, you just get this nice vanilla, this velvety vanilla sitting on this really dry style of cedar wood, and it just has this nice allure, addictive style of nature to it that's just absolutely gorgeous. The scent trail on this is just absolutely amazing. Performance on this is pretty good. For that first 30-40 minutes with all those spices, this does push off pretty hard, but the last hour it does settle back in a little bit closer, and you get a decent scent bubble for that last hour. And then longevity, I get about 6-8 hours worth of longevity before it really fades into an intimate skin scent at that point. So overall, pretty good performance on this one, but like I said, the mid and the dry down on this is absolutely gorgeous. Perfect for date nights. Could be a little bit challenging for some of you out there, but for when it comes to a YSL Baby Cat clone, this one is absolutely fantastic. And for 35 bucks, definitely worth checking out. That's Paris Corner's Rifiquette. All right, next up, going to the house of Afnan with Afnan's Zimaya Café Blue. Now you can scoop this up for in and around $32 at various discounters, and this is a Dior Sauvage Elixir clone, and pretty darn good one, if you ask me. Opens up with some cinnamon, nutmeg, and this really nice grapefruit citrus that comes through. You get this ambery sweetness that comes through, but you definitely get that licorice that gives it that kind of Dior Sauvage Elixir style of DNA. The only thing missing, it doesn't have that same kind of peppery punch that you do get from the original Dior Sauvage Elixir. And from some of those other clones, that pepperiness is definitely toned down. But you get that licorice, you get that aromatic clean lavender that comes through with those citruses, those other spices, and those woody notes as well. And it's just a beautiful, easy to reach for blue style of DNA that's just perfect for those date nights. Has that fresh cleanness to it, but it also has that kind of masculine, bold woodiness to it that comes in the dry down. Nice smooth sandalwood mixed in there as well, and it's just an absolutely gorgeous scent profile on here. And the performance on this is pretty good. First 2 hours, this does project off really well, and I get about 7-8 hours worth of longevity before it really fades into a skin scent. But I find when I got this on my clothing, this really lasted like well into the next day, and I could even smell it after I washed my shirt. So this does stick around quite a bit. And if you're into the Dior Sauvage Elixir style of DNA, you definitely want to check this one out. That's Afnan's Zimaya Café Blue. All right, next up, going to the house of Khadlaj with Khadlaj Shiaka. Now you can scoop this up for in and around $26 at various discounters, and this is a clone of Amouage Reflection Man, and this might be one of my favorite Khadlaj fragrances. They just did this one so well, and I love the DNA that comes through on this one. Just opens with this nice petitgrain rosemary, this bright neroli, and this beautiful, soft, gentle orris root. There is some pink pepper spice in there as well, so it adds a little bit of spice, a little bit of additional sweetness. There is this nice, fresh, sweet, soft white floral that comes through, but what you're really getting is that orris root that comes through, adding that nice, soft, powdery texture. Has this like opulent, elegant nature to it, mixing with that bright neroli, giving it that cleanness as well, and just some nice floral and spicy aspects that kind of dance around the edges, just making this absolutely beautiful. There are some green touches in this as well, but like I said, what you're mostly getting is that kind of fresh, soft, opulent style of DNA coming through. As you get towards the dry down, you get some nice, soft, smooth woods that come through. You get a little bit of cedar, hints of some vetiver, and this nice, smooth sandalwood that plays really nice with that orris root. It just adds to that soft, gentle, kind of powdery style of texture that comes through. Absolutely beautiful scent profile on this. And performance on this, considering that it is a very, like I said, elegant, opulent, gentle style of fragrance, is monstrous. I get huge projection off this for the first 2-3 hours, and this lasts easily 10-12 hours off skin. Get some on your shirt, you're definitely gonna have to wash that shirt maybe more than once, because this really performs, which is kind of surprising considering the style of fragrance that this one is, but this one just goes and goes. So be a little bit careful with the sprays on this one, because this is a certified beast mode fragrance, and for date nights, absolutely gorgeous. Just like I said, you have that elegant, gentlemanly sort of vibe going on to it that is definitely going to impress, and for $26, definitely worth checking out. That's Khadlaj Shiaka. All right, last, but certainly not least, going to the house of Ahmed Al Maghribi with Ahmed Al Maghribi's Blue. Now you can scoop this up for in and around $30 at various discounters, and this is a clone of Blue de Chanel, or maybe a twist of Blue de Chanel, but either way, dumb reach, compliment beast, crowd-pleasing style of blue fragrance, and I absolutely love this one. Also has a pressurized atomizer. Really nice opening this one. Grapefruit, lemon gives it this nice bright, energetic style of citrus opening, mixing in with some nice fresh spiciness coming from some mint, some ginger, and you get hints of some nutmeg and some sweetness from some pink pepper that comes through. So like I said, bright, clean, fresh, energetic style of opening. As you get towards the mid, you get little hints of some white florals around the edge, adding a little bit of sweetness to it, and you get this nice style of kind of deep, rich wood medley that comes through. Some cedar, some sandalwood, a little bit of some grassy, dry vetiver, and nice kind of wisps of some incense that just kind of envelop all of those woody notes and just kind of ties everything together. Little hints of some white musk and laudanum as well, but really what you're left with here is just a nice kind of clean, fresh style of fragrance sitting on some nice, deep, rich woods. Gives it a little bit of warmth with that incense coming through and a little bit of additional sweetness from some white floral just around the edges. Through and through, this is a Blue de Chanel style of scent profile on here. Clean, fresh, masculine style of fragrance that is just absolutely perfect for date nights. Performance on this is really good. I get about 2 hours worth of solid projection before it does settle back in, and I get about 8 hours worth of longevity off my skin. Definitely get it on your clothing though. It'll push it out a lot longer. I found this one well into the next day when I got it on my clothing, so it does stick to your clothing fairly well, but overall performance on this, fantastic. For $32, definitely worth checking out. That's Ahmed Al Maghribi's Blue. All right, so there you have it. That's 7 sexy date night fragrance clones that I think you should know about. But I want to hear from you guys. What are some of your favorite date night fragrance clones that you like to wear to impress your special someone? Comment down below. I love hearing from you guys. I love getting your different recommendations, your hidden gems, different taste and scent profiles. Appreciate you. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.